Hello, and in this tutorial, I want to have a look at retargeting motions in MotionBuilder to fit a rigged character that we've created in Maya. So here we are in Maya, and what we want to do is just export this character so that we can see it inside of MotionBuilder. So we can export it as an FBX. And what you want to do is make sure you export the rig, the bones, and the mesh. You want to make sure you export everything. If you go into Outliner, you'll see that we want to export all of these elements, okay? And just a bit of background here, you'll see that I've actually rigged this character using Quick Rig. Sorry about that. Using Quick Rig as well, just a bit of background information there. Okay, so I've already exported this as an FBX, okay? So I'm going to go to MotionBuilder, okay? And the first thing I'm going to do is this is all the motions that we captured in our capture session, okay? And the first thing I'm going to do is merge all these motions together into one file. The reason for doing that is it will make it much easier to work with those motions later on, and you'll see this as we go through. So basically, the way I tend to work is I will capture one T-pose, so a couple of seconds of a T-pose, and then that allows me just to, that means I don't have to have the actor doing a T-pose for any of the other takes inside of that session, okay? So I will line up using this T-pose, and then that will be used for all of these takes as well, okay? That alignment will be used for all of these takes as well. So you'll see how I do that as we go through this tutorial. Okay, so what I want to do is merge all of these files. So I've opened up a blank MotionBuilder file, okay? I'm just going to go File, Motion File Import. Here we go. I'm just going to select all of these and just go Open and just go Import. And you'll see that it's actually brought all of these in and it's put them onto a different take. So it's put each motion into a different take. But the important thing is that it's all sharing the same rig. So there's only one rig, and all of those takes are plotted onto the same rig. Now, in order for that to happen, we need to make sure that the subject is called the same thing. So whenever we export our motion from Shogun Post, that the subject has the same name. Okay. Now, if it doesn't, what will happen is it will create another rig for that subject. We can fix that in here. We can simply go in here and just rename this rig. Okay. So you open up the motion that's got a different name, rename it so it fits, and then just import that motion. And again, that should merge in the same way that we're looking at here. Okay. Great. So now what we want to do is just simply go File, Save As. Okay, and we're just going to save it as, and what we want to do is make sure that we don't have this selected. So we've got save one take per file. Let's close that, okay, and I'm just going to go back into chronological, get back into this file. I'm just going to call it all takes. Great, okay, and go save. Excellent. What I might want to do is just take off take one because there's nothing in there, so I'm just going to remove that. Just go save. Okay, so all of that is now merged into one single FBX file. Great. So I'm going to start a new MotionBuilder file, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the FBX file that we exported from Maya. Okay, so this is the FBX file of the rigged man that we exported from Maya. Great, here we are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go File, and I'm going to go Import. Okay, I'm going to import the FBX file. I'm going to import motion file. I'm going to import. So remember, I'm not just doing a normal import here. I'm not just doing a normal import or a merge. I'm going import motion file, so a motion file import. And I'm going to import all the takes that we merged just a moment ago. Okay, I go import and click. I probably don't want to take this. Yeah, that's fine. Keep that as it is. Just go import. Now what I want to do is I can just see all the different takes that I've got in there. That's excellent. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to clean up this T-pose. Okay, so that I can retarget. So I can use this as a basis for retargeting this character here. Okay. So I'm just going to click. What I need to do. Best way to do this is if I create another viewer. So add a viewer. Let's just put that in there. And this view here is a schematic view. So I've clicked schematic view here. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to find Will. So the Will's there. If you can't find it, just scooch out the scene. You'll see there you are. You'll see Will in there. Okay. And what we're going to do is, to make sure this is a proper T-pose, we're going to zero out some of these nodes. In fact, we're going to zero all of them out, except for the shoulder and the shoulders and the arm. Okay. So here we're going to go right-click, zero, and we're zeroing just the rotation. Okay. Great. And you'll see that this T-pose is now flipped over to face the right direction. Okay, so let's continue on with the spines. I'm just going to go zero, rotation, and I'm going to continue on with the neck and head, and all of those, and go, zero rotation. And I'm going to do all the legs. You'll see the legs all pop straight now. Zero rotation. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to select the forearm and all of these bits here, and I'm going to go zero rotation. Excellent. Okay, the only thing I want to do now is kind of look at these arms in a bit more detail. What I tend to do is I tend to kind of go in the perspective view, orthogonal view, and look at it from the top. And I can kind of zoom in on this, look at this in a bit more detail. And what I want is these shoulders actually have a different rotation on them at the moment already, so I'm just going to clean that up. Ooh, let's just grab that. There we are. Okay, I'm just going to grab this, clean that up. There we go. And let's grab this, just make these arms straight. Oh, sorry, Control Z. Try that again. There we go. And just make sure these arms straight. So what I want is these are relatively even angles. The shoulders are at an even angle, and the arms are straight as well. Okay, I could get in here and actually look at the values and noodle them manually. I suppose I could. No reason why I couldn't actually look at these values here and actually try and match them up in some way. But I'm just going to do it by eyeball for the moment. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the perspective view. Okay. And what I want to do is inside of this hand here, I should just be able to rotate this just to kind of get the hand all nice and level. Okay. Again, I'm going to rotate this. And what I'm trying to do is just get this hand so the hand's level here. Great. Okay. Do that bit more there. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm happy with that T-pose now. Okay, so now what we want to do, with it in that T-pose, we want to go and characterize this. So at the moment, MotionBuilder has no understanding of what these joints are. Okay, it doesn't understand that, you know, this is a hip and this is an arm and etc. etc. And so what we would normally do is we would put in something called a character, and character is just a way, something that we can map to, so we can map all these different joints to different parts of the body so that MotionBuilder understands it. Fortunately, Vicon actually use a naming convention that MotionBuilder understands. So you can kind of take a shortcut by literally, if we go into characters here and we drag this character icon onto it, okay, and click on there and click characterize, and we can just literally characterize the whole mesh. Just ignore that error about the spines, and I'm just going to go, yeah, it's a biped, okay? And what will happen is it will create an additional character here called character, okay? And it doesn't look like anything's happened, but actually it means that MotionBuilder has a better understanding of this, and it now can actually drive this character, okay? So in here, with man selected, I can go into here and I can tell it to follow our character. Great. So now I can select different takes, okay? And if I just, in fact, I can just remove this now because I don't need this. I can select different takes and you'll see, okay, that our man is now following the character. Great, okay. One of the things to kind of look for as well is what you'll see at the moment is that the man is actually kind of is in terms of the retargeting that's going on, it's retargeted in terms of joint rotation. So the man is matching the joint rotations. Now, it might be that actually I don't want it just to match the joint rotations. I want it to actually match the position of the hand, not the joint rotations, okay? You can't match both because that's physically impossible because they're a different size. So you have to kind of make a compromise and choose which one you're going to do, okay? So it might be I want it to match its there rather than matching joint rotations. Now, if that's the case, what I can do is I can go on to man here, the man character. Here we go. And I can click on character settings. Okay, so under characters, I've selected man. going to go into character settings. I'm just going to move this up a little bit so you can kind of see this in a bit more detail. Okay, and you'll see under here we've got this load of settings here called retargeting, and this allows us to kind of specify how the man retargets. Okay, so one of the things we can do is if we go into so if I select match, so if I go into here and I select under retargeting, I select match source, I check that. Okay, and it's shifted it a little bit, but the key thing that it allows us to do is if we scroll down here, we've got these reach values here. I can scroll down there, and there's a whole load of different things I want to look at. But let's just imagine I want to do this left arm here for a moment, okay? So I'm going to click left arm, okay, and this will allow me to take the left hand, and what I want to do is I'm going to say I want it to reach and match the translation. So I can move that, and you'll see my hand is going to go up and try and meet that target. Now, if I play that, you'll see that my hand is now, rather than matching the rotation, the hand is actually matching the position of the original hand. Okay. Now, this isn't something that you must do. This is purely an aesthetic thing in terms of what's going to give you the best result. Okay. So in the case of this dance, I'm actually quite happy just to match the rotations. I don't feel that I need to exactly match positions. But if that's something you can do, you want to do, you can go into the retargeting here and do that in more detail. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we want to do is we want to basically plot. At the moment, what's happening is the man character is just following the motion that we've brought into MotionBuilder. What we want to actually do is actually put that motion onto the man character itself. So again, with the man character selected here, what we want to do is in this Vitruvian man, we want to go bake, and we want to go bake to skeleton. Okay, now I'm not going to click that. I want to click the options. Okay. And the reason for that is I can go plot all takes. So rather than doing each motion at a time, because I've combined my motions now, okay, it's combined my motions, then I can then go plot all takes, okay? I'm just going to go plot. And now it will plot every single take that we've got. Here we go. Brilliant, okay? And then what I can do is I can do a similar thing and go bake plot, and plot them all to the control rig. So again, I can plot all takes and just plot them to the control rig. Okay. So one, I'm plotting it to the actual skeleton of the character, and the other one, I'm plotting it to the control rig. So by plotting them to the control rig, obviously that will allow me in Maya to or MotionBuilder to actually edit that motion. Okay. With them just plotted to the bone, that's great, I've got the motion, but it's very difficult to edit that. So by plotting it to the control rig, I can then actually edit that motion as well. Okay, excellent. Okay, great. So that's all plotted to both the skeleton and the control rig. Okay, now what we want to do is export this so that we can actually use it in Maya. So again, what we can do is we can just go File, save character animation. Okay, I'll click on that. And what I can do is I can say I want to save, I'm going to save. What I want to do this time is actually save one file per one file per take. So I want each take to have its own file. Okay, you'll see this will allow me to bring in each animation into Maya as I need it. Okay, great. So I want to make sure that I click on that. Okay, I'm just going to create a new folder. Just go new folder. I'll call it retargeted motions. Okay, here we go. And so all these animations that we're saving now are animations that have been specifically retargeted for this character. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to just go we've selected that. I'll just give it a name. I'll just call it dance. Okay, I'm just going to go save, and it will now save every single one. I don't think I need take one. I can get rid of that, and I probably don't need the T-pose. So we can get rid of that as well. So I'm going to save. Okay, great. Now what I want to do is I want to go into Maya. Okay, and I can now apply this animation to this character. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I can go into Windows, Animation Editor, and I can go to Time Editor here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to bring in the control rig of this character into this timeline. So the way that I do that is I view the control rig. So I just go into Windows, Animation Editor, Human IK. And then what I want to do is, I've got a slightly weird view thing going on there, not sure why. But anyway, if I just click on a blank area, it will select all the elements of the control rig. And then what I can do is just go add selected content from scene. So I just go add, because that's what I've got selected. So I click on that. And it's created now an animation track that's related to the control rig of this character. Great. I just want to delete this animation because I don't really need it. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right click and I'm going to go import animation clip. And I'm going to go into these retargeted motions that we've just created. They're all FBX files. And I can just open it and just go open. And you'll see that that motion has just gone onto that character. Perfectly fine. Okay. I just need to zoom out here. Great. Okay. And you'll see that I've created another video about this, and there are other videos about the timeline editor. But once these motions are in the timeline editor, you can blend the motions, you can rescale the motions, and combine them in whatever way you want. Okay. And the alternative approach to doing this is literally you actually have a storyline editor inside of MotionBuilder. I think if you go to Story, I'm not going to go into that in this tutorial, but again, you can merge and combine motions and create an entire motion in that way, and if you want to, just put that as one entire motion onto the character. Okay, I hope you found this tutorial useful.